Looks about 72 degrees, no rain, the clouds are clear.
I'm not sure that wind is down right now, but it may whip up later in the game. In any case, Midland will kick it off, moving left to right. As we look at it, Midland in their blue pants and white jerseys. Chris Stanton will tee it up at the 40-yard line. Jason Granger and Kevin Bryant deep for the Hawks. Also in deep position, Brendan Cotter and Nick Williams. Good crowd here at the Dome. And the Class A state championship game. The MHSAA football championship just moments away from starting.
Midland, maybe watch, I don't know if they'll do it this time, but in the playoffs so far, have recovered 2 onside kicks against the 2 Lapeer teams this season. They got one against East and one against West.
Let's see if Stanton kicks it away full strength here to start the game. He does just that. This will be Kevin Bryant at the 1. Gets by one man and is hammered down at about the 19-yard line. So Harrison will start at the 19. Chad Johnson in on the tackle for Midland. We check out the starting offense for the Hawks. You see up front Burgess, Similel, Shalip, Bloomberg, Kabisky, Struble, and Bryant up front. And in the backfield, Joe Pacey, the quarterback, Nick Williams, and Jason Granger behind him, and Brendan Collar, the other running back for the Hawks. Brendan Cotter. They line up in the power I this time on first down. They'll give it off to Granger, coming off the left side for a couple. Brought down at about the 23-yard line. Andy Castle in on the tackle for the Chemics. Semifinals last week as we look at the defense here. Osteen, Markey, Lafiego, and Miles up front for the Chemics. Linebackers, Margeron, Ignatowski, and Noel. Again, keep an eye on Ignatowski, and there's the defensive back, Stewart, Page, Fisham, and Castle. 2nd and 8 for the Harrison Hawks at the 22. Up the middle, this is the fullback, Nick Williams, out across the 30 for the first down.
This time, Harrison starts out the first play trying to go wide with Granger, cut it back. This time they run a little inside trap. Nick Williams, who picks up about 8 or 9 yards. It was a quick hitter.
We'll see it again. He got a good hole on the right side.
Let's keep an eye on the left guard. He pulls. It's a good trap block. Williams hugs the hole nicely. Accelerates up to the middle for a gain about 8 yards. That's a little bit of what you'll see from the Midland side of the ball today, the inside trap.
The I formation. John Harrington, the veteran coach for Harrison, likes to shake up the sets, and then Nick Williams on first down off the right side for about 3 or 4. They knock him backwards. He'll give us forward progress out to about the 35.
Well, Coach Harrington must feel that whatever's working for you, keep on doing it. That was the identical play that Williams picked up 8 yards on the last play. It was just an inside trap. That time Midland read the trap coming and he buried himself and didn't allow penetration.
We have 2 veteran coaches here. In fact, John Harrington is 24th year heading the Farmington Hills Harrison program, and Gary Joswiak for Midland in his 19th. 43 years combined. Outstanding records for both squads. 2nd down and 6. Going long down the sideline and incomplete. Good effort and coverage there. Kevin Bryant, number 1, the intended receiver. Coverage by Brian Page.
Well, Coach Harrington, he set him up with a couple inside runs. This time he just does a straight drop back. Tries to throw the fade route here. You see Pacey dropping straight back, just a 3-step drop. He's trying to throw the fade out to Bryant. But good coverage, Page at inside position. Bryant almost made an athletic play and made a reception. But Page went out on that time.
Pretty good toss in there by Joe Pacey, by the way, the 6'2" senior quarterback. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Hawks. Rolling to the right now, Pacey flips it out of the backfield. Williams with the first down and more. Into Midland territory at the 48. Andy Castle brought him down, along with Mike Kloss. And as you know, Rob, those 2 fullback runs prior to that helped set up that back coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, all that was a little flood pass to the right. Pacey rolls out to the right, little play action. You see Williams leak out of the backfield. He's the short flood man, and Pacey finds him for a good gain, about a 15-yard gain. Harrison's moving the ball.
Back to the eye on 1st and 10 for the Hawks of Harrison. Here's the pitch out to Jason Granger, and he's hammered down after a couple of hard-earned yards. Andy Castle with a big hit for Midland, along with Dave Bargeron. Bargeron, a 5'11 senior, 180-pounder.
That was defended well by Midland that time. They tried to get Granger outside with his quickness and speed.
We'll see how these teams got here. Harrison defeated Edsel Ford. Then Northville and Fraser last week in the semifinals. Very strong performance in the semis for Harrison. 2nd down and 8 for the Hawks. Power I. And Williams the deep back this time, but Pacey fakes to him and pitches it out, and it's grabbed out there by Nick Burgess, the senior, for a 1st down. Blair Stewart brought him down. Now, John Harrington likes to do that. He'll have Jason Granger, the deep back, in the I or the power I, but sometimes he'll take his fullback, Nick Williams, and put him as the deep back. That time they faked it to him, but it just shows the multiplicity, if I can say that, of the Harrison set. We'll see how Midland got to the Dome with wins over Lapeer East and Lapeer West before a strong win over Jenison in the semifinals. Both teams looked very strong in the semis last week. 1st and 10 for Harrison at the 35. Quick over the middle, and nice grab by Kevin Bryant. Short of the 1st down, but the 6-foot junior Kevin Bryant went up and then took a good pop from Brian Page and held onto it.
I really like the way John Harrington's mixing up his plays right now. He's going inside, he's going outside, he's doing some play action flood. That time it's just a quick drop, throwing the slant out to Bryant. He makes excellent catch. It was defended pretty well, but once again, the athleticism shows.
2nd down and 1. This is Williams for the 1st down. Nick Williams brought down by Dave Bargeron and Mike Klaus. And as Rob Rubik mentioned, a very impressive drive here for the Hawks on their first possession of this scoreless tie in the Class A championship. At the 28, the Midland Chemics defense tries to dig in now and put an end to this drive. Back to the power I with Williams, the deep back. This is Williams. Breaking tackles down to the 15. Well, he got a few from a block there, but Robbie got about 4 more on his own.
Well, Rick, all that is power football. He lines up in a power I. He leads, it's just a power isolation play. He leads both lead backs through the hole, gives it to Williams, who's a 230-pound back, and you tackle, you hit him at 3, and he's going to get you 6. He's going to pick up the extra 3 just with his strength.
Blair Stewart and Ben Knorr brought him down. We'll see quickly here the run by Williams off the left side and some of that power. Back to that power I, and Williams will take it off the left side. Good blocking. It will be 1st and goal for Harrison. Mike Klaus and Chad Ignatowski brought him down, but nothing fancy there.
No, Midland needs a defensive stop here. Right now, they're on their heels. He's hitting them inside, outside power, and somebody's got to step up on the defensive side of the ball for Midland and make a play to slow down this drive.
Brendan Cotter is in the backfield now on 1st and goal from the 9. This is Williams. Hit hard at the 7-yard line. Midland crowd on the far sideline roars its approval after the hit by John Miles and Mike Klaus. It will be 2nd and goal from the 8-yard line. Williams, the deep back in the power I. Pacey rolls. Looking, firing, incomplete. Kevin Bryant, the intended receiver, coverage over there by Brian Page.
Well, that time, Harrison lines up the power again and shows it. It's the play action. He tries the flood pass. The play breaks down because of good pressure and penetration by number 99 and number 77, Chad Ignatowski and Jake Austin. That time, Ignatowski almost got him, had his jersey a little bit, throws off the timing of the play, and lets the secondary recover, get on their man. It was almost an interception. This brings up a 3rd and 8.
3rd and goal from the 8. Ranger back in the tailback position here for the Hawks. Pacey again rolls to the right. In the flat, Williams can't handle it. Just a little ahead of him. It'll be 4th down from the 9. Dave Bargeron putting the pressure on that time on quarterback Joe Pacey.
Once again, the pressure is what breaks down the play, Rick. Bargeron is right in Pacey's face. Williams was open on the 3, but he wasn't able with the penetration to get a proper throw off. It brings up a field goal attempt on 4th
Brock
down.
Gold will attempt it. Joe Pacey, the holder. Jake Lawson, the long snapper. It's a fake. Pacey looking into the end zone. Fires. Incomplete. I'm not sure, Rob, if it was by design or not. The snap was a little low.
Yeah, it was a bad snap, Rick. It wasn't a design fake. It took about 1 or 2 hops, a short hop to the holder. He didn't feel that penetration inside by Mike Kloss, and I think Jake Austin also. The Midland secondary had a chance to pick that off. I believe they should have, because they would have got the ball on the 20. Instead, they're getting on the 8-yard line. But a big defensive effort by the Midland Chemics.
Well, you mentioned they needed a stop, and they did get one. So the first offensive play for the Midland Chemics comes from their own 8-yard line. Fumble snap, but Brent Wallace, the quarterback, falls on it. Set the offense now for the Midland Chemics under Coach Gary Joswiak. Up front, Justin Bidwell, Kevin Spool, Simpson, Taylor, Riak, Vasio, and Twomley. And in the backfield, Brent Wallace, Rod Bauer, Jake Miller, and Joe Dana. Now, both starting running backs for Midland, Rob, have injured ankles. Rod Bauer and Jake Miller. Miller was injured last week, late in the semifinal win. 2nd down and 11. And there's a whistle. And delay of game, so Midland's first 2 offensive plays have not gone as planned. Harrison, by the way, had the ball for 6 minutes and 10 seconds in that opening possession. Took it 73 yards, but came away empty after the defense stiffened. So delay of game makes it 2nd and 14. Here's the defense for the Hawks. Wall, Lesperance again, baits and go. Up front for Harrison. 2nd down and 14. Give off the right side to Bauer, who got a couple of yards, but run down after that. Dave Hensel in on the tackle for Harrison, along with Nick Burgess. 3rd and 11. Now we see the linebackers for Harrison, Nick Williams, Bombanik, and in the backfield, Hensel, Burgess, and Bryant. 3rd and 11 for the Chemics. This is Jake Miller, nowhere to go. Rock Gold hitting at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 4th and long in a punting situation for the Chemics.
When Midland came out on their own 8-yard line, you have your back to the wall. You don't want to make a turnover there, have a turnover happen. So Coach Joswiak comes out a little conservative. 3 running plays, punt the ball, try to regroup defensively, and get a little better field position.
Chris Stanton, who averaged 35 yards a kick this year in his own end zone. Punts it away. Dave Hensel and Kevin Bryant to receive. Good pressure. Nice kick, though, by Chris Stanton. Fair catch called for and fumbled. Picked up. This is a muff. It won't count as far as the return, but the ball will come back, and Harrison hangs on to it. The ball fumbled. Alertly picking it up was Mark Lesperance. He returned it, but it's a muff, Rob, and you cannot.
Can't advance
you
a muff.
get the possession, but you cannot advance it. We'll see
You're
it again.
impressing me
Nice
by your
punt
football
here.
knowledge here, Rick. That's very good, very astute, realizing that a muff cannot be advanced.
So it's a delay of game penalty against Harrison. Here's the punt once again. Fine boot. See Lesperance quickly grabbing it, and instinctively you can understand as a coach, Rob, now that the kid sees the ball, he's going to pick it up and go with it.
Right, they get a delay game because of an illegal advancement by a player who did not touch the ball on fielding the punt. Thus a 5-yard penalty from the touch.
But Lesperance saved the day for Harrison, at least for the time being. with that recovery. This is Williams off the right side. Good hold, good yards. Brought down by Andy Castle and Dave Bargeron. And another nice pickup of about 7 for the Hawks.
Inside, both the guards, Chad Chimsky and Steve Shahib, are doing an excellent job trapping for Nick Williams. They're just running that little quick hitting inside trap and have quite a bit of success so far.
Power I with Williams in the backfield as the deep back. This is Nick Williams again. Cuts outside, turns it on, and knocked out at the 20-yard line. Blair Stewart ran him down, but we knew about the power of Nick Williams. There we got a chance to see a little of the speed.
That was an excellent run by Nick Williams. It was designed to go off tackle. I believe it was Jake Osteen that it clogged up a little bit, so Williams instinctively bounces it outside, accelerates, turns on the speed, turns into about a 20-yard gain, setting Harrison up first and 10 on the 20-yard line. There's a replay here.
We'll see it again.
Just the power once again. Yeah, Osteen clogs it up. He bounces it outside for 230 pounds. That's some great acceleration.
Nick Williams, 6'2", 230-pound junior. We mentioned Jason Granger, just a sophomore. John Harrington's got both of those guys coming back next year, along with Kevin Bryant. Injured Midland Chemic Blair Stewart gets off on his own power. And first and 10 for the Harrison Hawks, who have controlled most of this first quarter. The scoreless tie, 3:09 to go in the period. Williams gets by one man, but there's plenty of pursuit help there for the Chemics. Mike Clausen there. Ben Knorr as well. And a loss of a few makes it second down and 12.
Good defensive surge inside. The play was designed just to go right off the right guard, Nick Williams. The hole was plugged. He tried bouncing a little bit. That time, the defensive pursuit caught up with Nick Williams for a 2-yard loss. A big play for the Chemics.
Second and 12 for the Hawks. Williams left side, good hole. Got about 4. Good recovery there defensively. And looked when he hit the line of scrimmage like it was going to go longer than that. Brought down by Chad Ignatowski and company for the Chemics. Third down at about 8 for the Harrison Hawks, trying to dent the scoreboard. Keep an eye on Jason Granger, split out wide to the right here, rolling to the right is Pacey, fires it into flat, tip, and incomplete. Almost caught on the deflection by Granger. He was looking for Nick Burgess at about the 5. To look at Granger too.
That play, what made that play almost successful, Rick, was the fact that they split out Jason Granger, used him more as a decoy, and brought Nick Burgess underneath him, heading to the flat. And it was really a well-thrown ball by Pacey. Burgess just couldn't quite find a handle on it.
Another field goal attempt here by Brock Ove. See if he gets this one off. He does. It's long enough, and it's good. 35-yard field goal by Brock Ove, his 5th field goal of the season. And the Harrison Hawks on the scoreboard for the first time. And the first time in the game for either squad, 3-0 with 1:45 to go in the first quarter. So the Hawks have controlled this first quarter, and really, if you're Gary Joswiak over on the Midland side, Rob, you're not happy being behind, but the way that the offense has run for Harrison, I don't think you feel badly about being down only 3-0, because it could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah, he might be somewhat concerned, but then again, he's also got to be happy. They had excellent field position, them being Harrison the last time. Starting on the 45-yard line, he held them to 3 points. The first time Harrison had the ball, they drive down the field and they stop him short. They muff the field goal attempt. no points. So even though his defense right now seems to be on their heels a little bit, they're also making the big stops when needed.
48-yard drive, covering just over 2 minutes. And Brock Gold will kick the field goal, will kick it off. Joe Dana, Rod Bauer, and Jake Miller deep. Bobbled at the 20. Now coming away with it, Rod Bauer. Nowhere to go. One of those tweener kicks, Rob, that's always hard to handle.
Well, those give coaches the willies, because your deep people, it's too short for them to come up and get it, and your people in the mid-row just aren't used to fielding kicks, and it sometimes hits the ground and it's a free ball.
Jake Lawson in on the tackle for Harrison, and Midland, which started in bad field position its first possession, has a little better this time at the 20. Miller and Bauer behind Brent Wallace, the junior quarterback, and this is Rod Bauer. Gets a couple off the left side before being hammered down.
This will be the first chance we have to see Midland really have a chance to work their offense. So, Rick, when they had the ball the first time on your own 8-yard line, it kind of limits what you can do as an offensive coordinator. This time they have better field position on the 20, and let's see what they're going to be able to move the ball on Harrison at all.
Joe Dana split out wide to the left for the Chemics. 2nd and 7. Jake Miller fights for a couple across the 25 to the 26. Bring up about 3rd down and 4.5 as Gary Lesperenson on the tackle for Harrison. Midland not a real flashy team at all, Rob. They just seem to do everything well.
Yeah, they execute well. They don't beat themselves either, Rick. They just they run a lot of inside trap. We haven't seen the toss sweep or the power sweep yet. I think we're going to see it.
Winding down the final seconds of the first quarter. Wallace. Great catch out there by Justin Bidwell.
The throw wasn't too bad either, Rick. That time Wallace put the ball right on the money. They just ran a little bit of a fade, and the ball was thrown perfectly. A great catch by Bidwell.
It was Twombly, my mistake, Rob. It was Dave Twombly.
They had those bookend tight ends too, but
95 and 96. Let's watch Twombly come down. He wants to go to him earlier, Rob.
Here it is, a quick one to fade. Perfect throw, excellent.
Back to the action, Jake Miller off the left side. Got hit very near the line of scrimmage. Brendan Cotter came up defensively and made a nice hit. No gain at all, 2nd down and 10 now for Midland after their first down of the game. And offensively, as you see, the Harrison Hawks lead by 3 and the quarter comes to an end. Well, that first down of the game can often be the toughest one, Rob, and I know offensively that's got to give some confidence to the offense for the Chemics.
And not only does it give the offense confidence, it gives your defense confidence on the side of the field, because they're on the sidelines watching right now. The whole first quarter, it seemed like they were on the field. It gives them a little bit of a rest. They can regroup as a defensive unit, and it gives your whole team a spark. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Whenever you can pick up 20 yards on a first down, it really helps your team. I think you're going to see Midland, Coach Droziak use his tight ends more, because on the last couple plays, Dana, who's their primary receiver throughout the year, was double teamed by Harrison. They're playing an over-under on him. I think they're going to try to deny him the ball all day. That was one of Coach Harrington's keys to the game, to take Dana out of the offense.
You know, the reason school activity programs such as athletics, music, and drama are so effective is because you have so many students waiting to pursue these activities on their own time. They're also cost effective because they involve a large segment of the students, teachers, and community while spending less than 2% of the school budget. Support your local school activity program. 2nd down and 10 for Midland as we start the second quarter. Jake Miller off the right side gets about 4.
Coach Droziak showing a little different wrinkle here. He's coming out on an unbalanced line. We saw this throughout the playoffs with Midland. It's the first series that they've shown it today. They came out unbalanced left and actually ran to the weak side.
We're keeping an eye on the ankle of Jake Miller, number 24, who was injured that ankle in the semifinals last week, a win over a very good Jenison team. He was favoring it a little bit in pregame warm-ups, but seems to be getting a little bit more ability on it. On 2nd down, plunging near the first down, the Chemics. See if we need a measurement, though. Good run in there by Rod Bauer, the 5'8", 180-pound senior, brought down by Jake Lawson along with Brock Gove.
Bauer coughed the ball up on that last play, but the whistle had already blown. Harrison recovered it, but it was a dead ball, picks up the first down. Midland seems to put a little bit of a drive together here, Rick, to see if they can sustain it.
Trailing by 3, Brock Gove, the only points of the game, a 35-yard field goal for Farmington Hills Harrison late in the first quarter.
The backup quarterback, number 11's in the game here.
Wallace grabbed out there by Marshinik. Close to another first down. Dave Hensel brought him down, but number 11, Jason Marshinik, with a nice grab.
Jason was a starting quarterback for the first part of the year. Here we see it again. Wallace under center. All this is a little 3-step drop. They run the wing out on a little 5-yard out. A nice throw, nice catch, a well-executed play. It's nice to see Coach Jawaziak get Marshinik in the game because he was a starting quarterback early on in the year.
Now Midland's starting to shuffle those sets up. Rod Bauer, a hole off the right side, down inside the 35 to the 34. Good blocking, another first down for the Chemics.
Midland's coming out in what we like to call a solo offense or a spread offense right now. They've gone to a one-back set. They bring in 2 wide receivers. They have a flanker along with a tight end. They're starting to spread out Harrison's defense. And what do? Once they get you spread out, they run inside trap.
Nick Williams on the tackle, but the Chemics crowd on the far sideline roaring its approval. Joe Dana to the right, Justin Bidwell to the left. Going for Dana in the flat, just over his hands. Looking for Joe Dana.
I can tell that one was coming. We had the high school team I worked with played Midland early in the year. Whenever you see Joe Dana tight down and split at the flanker position, they like to throw. It's kind of in between a fade, in between and out. They just have kind of run towards the sideline. They throw it out there because they know he's a superior athlete and he's going to go and get it most of the time.
Does the quarterback pick a spot there, Rob, or does he go by where the receiver is going to?
Well, he throws to a spot, and it's the receiver's job to get there.
Second down and 10. Bauer on the pitch. Cuts in, hurdles one man, but great pursuit defensively there by the Harrison Hawks. There were 4 green and gold jerseys all over the ball carrier. Kevin Bryant, one of them for Harrison. We'll watch it again.
See Wallace coming under center. This is just their quick pitch they like to try to run. They try to get you outflanked as quick as they can. Harrison does an excellent job with their team speed on their defense, stretching it out, not allowing Bauer to find a crease.
Third down and 8. Dana left, looking for Dana again. Overthrown. It'll be 4th down now.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him try a field goal here. He made a 44-yarder in, I think it was the regional final outside.
Chris Stanton, the kicker for Midland, has 10 field goals this year, which is an exceptionally high number for a high school kicker, and they're setting the tee at the 39. This will be a 49-yard field goal attempt, apparently, by Chris Stanton. Joe Dana, the holder, Neil Fazio, the snapper. Snap is down. It's not going to get there.
He didn't catch all of it.
So the field goal attempt comes up short. Harrison holds, and the score remains 3-0 in favor of Farmington Hills Harrison. This telecast is copyrighted production of Advanced Video Services under the rights granted by the Michigan High School Athletic Association and the Pontiac Silverdome Authority. No reproduction or retransmission of the pictures or accounts of this game may take place without the express written permission of the MHSAA and the Pontiac Silverdome. Harrison Hawks back to work offensively. Granger left, looking for the hole. Got out to the 25. Good job by the sophomore there, waiting for the block to open it up, Rob.
Yeah, that's pretty unique for someone owning a sophomore in high school, having patience when they're running wide, to let the creases, let the holes open up. Talking to Coach Harrington before the game, his keys to the game was to get Granger loose and also use his power game with Nick Williams. So far, the power game with Williams has been successful. He hasn't gotten Granger one-on-one out in the flat or out wide yet. And I think we're going to see him try to do that a little more often.
Dave Hensel split out wide to the right on second down and a short 5. Granger up the middle. spins away from one man, but holding on for the tackle, Midland's Mike Cloth. Boy, we've called his name a number of times. Some of the keys you mentioned for Harrison, what was the Coach Joswiak's keys going into this one, Rob?
It's so ironic, watching that last play, one of Coach Joswiak's keys to defense was to stop Granger. You have to stop. He said, we don't need to kill him. We don't need to just try to knock him on his back every single play. We have to get a hand on him, slow him down, let our defensive pursuit catch up and make the tackle. That time, a shirt tail, the defense came, finished him off.
3rd and 3 with Williams the deep back. Pacey rolls, fires, and incomplete. Excellent coverage over there by Brian Page. Putting the pressure on Pacey was Jacob Austin.
That was a big time play, Rick. The play was well designed. The rollout, Pacey had time. The ball was well thrown. Page made an excellent break. He read the out. He came up, got his hands on it, forces a punt. Midland's going to get good field position, probably around their own 40-yard line.
Harrison player. Jason Bloomberg is shaken up, but gets off the field on his own power, but apparently has some type of wrist or hand injury. Punting situation, Rick Smith averages 33 yards a kick. Joe Dana back to receive for Midland. End over end. Dana will get a return from the 39. Gets one block, and then hammered down for 41.
A late flag over on the other sideline.
Jake Lawson in on the tackle along with Ed Kennedy for the Hawks. Let's check out the flag. Face mask, the indication against Harrison. So what was pretty good field position to start just became great field position.
Now when you can start out on the plus side of the 50-yard line, right now it just opens up your offense so much because the defense cannot just come at you and try to stuff the run every single time. Now they have to sit back. It opens up your passing game. And now Midland, with the type of kicker they have, with Stanton, one first down or 2 first downs, and they're in field goal range to tie this game.
.7:35 to go in this first half. Farmington Hills Harrison continues to lead Midland 3-0. Rod Bauer off the left side, gets about 4 or 5. Well, Midland finished in 3rd place in the tough Saginaw Valley League, and that says something for not only the strength of the league, but also for the Midland players, that they didn't win the league title, but they kept battling in there.
The 2 games they lost, they were in the game. When we saw the film against Flint Central, and I actually thought they were the better team than Flint Central, who's a AA semifinalist this year. So their 2 losses against Bay City Western also was tough.
2nd down and 5. Jake Miller right side, got about 3. He'll be a couple of yards short of the first down after he's brought down by Gary Lesperance for Harrison.
Another thing Midland's doing right now, Rick, is they're making it a quick game. I think that's going to go in their favor in the long run. With the team speed, anytime you're playing against a team that's a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, you want to shorten the game to stop the chance of big plays, big long runs. And Midland's doing that right now by controlling the ball. The clock is ticking. We're at 6.5 minutes in the first half.
3rd down and a long 2. Bauer left side, make that Miller, and I believe he has the first down. I was right the first time, it was Bauer. Ed Kennedy brought him down. So the Midland Chemics, who are really starting to move off the ball on the offensive side here, as now we've got flags coming in on would have been a 1st and 10.
I think we have a procedure penalty.
They'll mark it off, and it'll be 1st and 15 now.
I was talking to Coach, once again, Coach Jwaziak before the game, and he was saying another thing they've been doing, had more success, is mixing his formations up on offense. This time that we've seen unbalanced, we've seen split backs, We've seen a solo formation. This time they come out in an inverted wishbone. So he said it's not bad. The offensive line blocking does not change. So it's easy for them to alter their offense. All it does is change it for the skilled people, the running backs and receivers.
You can make the grade in your community by helping youngsters enjoy the values taught through interscholastic sports competition. Coaches and officials are always needed in all sports. It's your call. For more information, contact your local school athletic director or the Michigan High School Athletic Association in East Lansing. See Gary Joswiak in the middle of that huddle.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Rick's point, I have to apologize to Gary Joswiak and his family. I've been mispronouncing his name, but if he would have been named Smith or Jones, I'd had a better chance.
Boy, but you know, as a coach now, you coach, of course, at Lapeer East High School, Rob. You can really appreciate what the gentleman on the head coach is on the sideline, John Harrington, in his 24th year, and Coach Joswiak in his 19th. What that the number of hours they've given to the youngsters in their communities.
They are what makes Michigan high school football what it is today.
1st and 15 for the Chemics after the 5-yard march-off. Wallace will look. He'll go long down the sideline, underthrown and incomplete.
Harrison that time did an excellent job in coverage. They really didn't bite on the play action at all. It was intended for Dave Toomley, number 95, one of the tight ends. They're due to over-under coverage sometimes on number 6, Dana, because in the previous games he's had a lot of success against East, West, and Jenison.
Gary Lesperance, good pressure that time on quarterback Brent Wallace. Second and 15. Quick opener for Jake Miller, but it's not open. He got a couple. Brock Gove, though, had him, and Brock Gove has had himself a fine game already defensively for Harrison.
That time they come out in a double tight end formation with the wing. They fake the quick pitch and run the trap back inside. I think the reason that it wasn't successful was the fact that they haven't really established the quick pitch. Once they can establish their quick pitch, Rick, they'll be able to hit that trap back inside. See the replay here, they fake the pitch, the quick pitch to Bauer, and they come back inside to Miller, but without establishing that pitch, you're not going to get any defensive flow. So I think Coach Joswiak needs to establish the quick pitch or the power pitch and then run that inside trap off the fake.
Look at some of the crowd here at the Pontiac Silverdome, and what a thrill it is, not only for the players, Rob, but for the entire communities to get to the Dome and play on the same field as the National Football League start. What a great thrill it must be for these youngsters.
Well, coming from the UP, playing high school football in the UP, it was always a dream to get to the Silverdome. We had a lot of success. We say we count the UP as like one big town, as you'll find out later today when Kingsford and Iron Mountain come here and do battle. But it was always a dream of every high school kid to have a chance of playing the Silverdome. What a facility, Rick. You look around, 80,000 people in here yesterday. Today, they have an excellent crowd from Midland and Farmington Hills, Harrison. The kids on the field, they're going to remember this till they're 80 years old, and they'll be better when they were 80 too.
And all the fans and everybody that's here, just coming here and being a part of it makes it a special time in their life. 3rd and long now. Wallace rolls. Pressured and dropped. Back at the 44. Mark Lesperance with the tackle. And it'll be a punting situation for the Chemics.
Harrison is doing an excellent job in pass coverage. They are taking Joe Dana right out of the game. Coming in, Midland needs Joe Dana. He's been their big play person all year. Coach Harrington watches the film. He realizes that. What does he do? He does a lot of double coverage, a lot of inverted coverage. He's rolling up, taking the underneath stuff away.
Chris Stanton will punt it away to Kevin Bryant and Dave Hensel. Fair catch called and made by Kevin Bryant at the 14-yard line. Well, 4:49 to go in the first half. It remains Harrison 3, Midland nothing. Rob, I can tell you this was not the kind of game that I expected at this point in time. I thought we'd have 2 or 3 touchdowns by this time.
Oh, I did too. I was watching both the teams warm up, especially when I was watching Harrison. They just look so skilled and so quick. But Midland is one of those teams that they just don't look flashy. They line up and they play. You saw them last week against Jenison, Rick. They just don't beat themselves and they don't allow the big play.
1st and 10 for the Harrison Hawks now from their own 14. Williams off the left side for a couple. Chad Ignatowski, one of the defensive stalwarts for the Chemics, in on that tackle again for Midland.
This is a real big series for Harrison right now, Rick, because they're on their own 15-yard line. If they can pick up a first down, they can pretty much run the timeout in the half. If they don't have to punt, Midland's going to get the ball back around midfield with a couple minutes to go, and they may be able to, with Stanton the way he can kick, they may be able to tie this game.
Granger is split out wide to the right on 2nd and long. Pacey looks for him. He's hit back at the 1, knocked into the end zone for the safety.
Oh, I don't. I guess the official had a better look than I did, but I guess he still was in possession and he still had his balance.
Steve Markey hit him. John Miles hit him. It's a safety.
I think you see right now, Harrison is discussing with the officials that they started to hit him on about the 3-yard line, Rick. Let's see right here. You see Pacey dropping back. It looks like they start hitting him on about the 3 or 4, and they push him back in, but the official must have ruled that he was still in control and he still had his balance where he could have broken the tackle. And that's the reason they awarded the safety. Coach Harrington's on the field right now discussing
In any case, the score now is 3-2. And I'm not sure who's warming up in the bullpen, but 4:10 to go, and not only will Harrison see its lead shaved to 1, they'll have to punt the ball away from the 20-yard line. You see the Midland fans enjoying it.
Let's get another look at it here, Rick. Pacey drops back. Now he gets hit on about the 4, but he's still in control. I think the official rules that he could have broke the tackle, and he was starting to spin out of it when the 2nd Midland defender tackled him. And it is a safety. You know why? Because there's 2 points on the board.
That's right. Good point, Rob. And you know what? To put this thing into perspective, if he breaks away from that tackle and throws a 180-yard touchdown pass, then you know a lot of the folks who are disagreeing were saying, "Hey, wait a minute! You shouldn't have blown it dead. He still was in control."
They try to let the officials try to let the kids play as much as they can, and I think it was a good call. And right now it's 3-2. Midland's going to get the ball back in good field position with 4:10 and a half. We got a dandy.
Chris Stanton, the punter, will kick it.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
Miller back all the way back at the 20 to the 30, across the 40 to the 42, and with 4:03 to go in the first half, Midland trailing by a single point will have a 1st and 10 at their own 42. Brought down by Jake Lawson. So the 2 Jakes combined there. Jake Miller on the carry, Jake Lawson on the tackle.
I'm curious to see what Midland can do here because they are a run-oriented offense. They use the pass to offset, to complement their run. So let's see what they can do in 4 minutes.
Bauer got a couple on the quick opener, but it closed very quickly as Mark Lesperance in there for the Hawks of Harrison. 3:35 to go and counting. Both teams with 2 timeouts left. 3-2.
Watch for a screen possibly here. It's a passing situation. You're going to have double coverage on the bottom side here on Dana. Might be a good opportunity for a screen.
Miller, big hole and a 1st down.
Well, that's why Coach Joswiak is in the finals and I'm up here doing color because I call for a screen or a pass. He runs the ball, picks up the 1st down. Coaching is getting the unexpected. Here you are. They come out, you're thinking pass. Well, let's just run an off-tackle isolation. He picks up 8-9 yards. 1st down, we're going to get a measurement.
Well, I called it a 1st down, but looking at the spot, I'm not so sure now. In any case, they'll bring the sticks out and we'll make it official one way or the other.
Oh, so you're bailing yourself out by blaming it on the spot now. Okay. Hey, you got power of the microphone. You can do that.
Let's see. They'll stretch it out. And he signaled one. No. Like the bashful bunny, he's a hair shy.
I pretend I didn't hear that, Rick.
Short of 1st down.
So 3rd down and inches for the Chemics. Bauer gets the 1st down, but it wasn't easy. Took some good second effort there by senior Rod Bauer. He was hit behind the line of scrimmage, I believe, the 1st time. Fought through. Nick Williams finally made the tackle secure. But with 2:50 to go in the half, Harrison leads by 1, 3-2, but Midland on the move.
I think Midland's looking to get in a field goal position, give Stanton another try. He fell short on a 49-yarder. I think they're another first down or two, and they'll be in range.
Wallace keeps it on the bootleg, and I'm not sure that he wanted to. He got a couple. Ed Kennedy brought him down, and Rob, I thought that was a busted play.
I'm not sure if it was it looks like he may have missed the handoff. Either that or it was just a design keeper. They've been giving it to the second back through a lot, Rick. Sometimes if you pull it from the second back and keep it, everyone goes to the back and it opens it up. Now, I don't know, he's 2nd and 8, and it is so hard when you're a run-oriented team, as I can't reiterate this enough.
On 2nd and 8, counter to Bauer, got about 4, and let's see if the Chemics call timeout with under 2 minutes to go. They do not. Tim Bears on the tackle for Harrison. I guess the thinking over there by Coach Joswiak now is if we don't get it, I don't want to give Harrison much time to come back at me. Now, if they get a first down with this play, though, they probably will use the timeout. They have 2 left. 3rd and 6. And a whistle before the play is started. Be a dead ball. And it'll either be 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 11. This obviously will be a huge difference in play selection for Midland, and apparently it's going to be 3rd and 11. It's a procedure call.
Oh, that kills you. I mean, when you're 3rd and 6, you still have the chance, the threat of running the ball on a draw, a delay of some time. Now when you're 3rd and 11, it limits you more, Rick. It sets up a pretty sure passing situation, possible screen.
Now Midland does call the timeout with 1:27 to go here in our first half. Is drug testing the best method for educating young people about the dangers of substance abuse? Only a comprehensive educational program can deliver the proper message to everyone in the school community. Support the drug education programs in your local school. For more information about school drug education programs, contact the WBA Ruster Foundation in Sturgis or the Michigan High School Athletic Association in East Lansing. There's some of the Harrison Hawk crowd enjoying the festivities. A lot of them have been here before, Rob.
Yeah, I asked Coach Harrington before the game. I said, Coach, what is this, your 6th, 7th time here? He started counting in his head, and he said, I'm not sure, but I think it's their 7th or 8th. I said, well, when you can't remember how many times you've been here too much, Coach.
It was like in the Class D game prior to this one, the Fowler Eagles, and I was commenting up in the press box there saying, geez, for the youngsters of Fowler, the community, this is the experience of a lifetime for the 4th straight year.
Yeah, or Frankfurt,
I mean, yeah. Frankfurt. Thank you for correcting me. 3rd and long. Wallace over the middle. Caught by Twomley. Short of the first down, I believe, by a yard.
Oh, I don't know.
Dave Twomley, a nice grab. Let's see if we need a measurement. Dave Hensel hit him, but Twomley's come up with a couple of big plays here.
I'm guessing
And
about
they'll
2
bring the
feet.
sticks across.
I guess Frankfurt, when you're here 4 years in a row, they just kind of put that as on their schedule when they print their schedules to hand out to the parents during the fall. The last game of the year is at the Silverdome.
Watch Twomley over the middle here, Rob.
Nice play. They swing Miller out of the backfield, which pulls Brian off, or I believe it was Brian off of him, and opens up the tight end on the deep out. Brings up a 4th and 1, biggest play of the game so far.
Both crowds roaring. The clock moving under a minute now. Wallace, a long count. And I believe he drew the defense off. That will give him the first down. The clock stops with 53 seconds to go in the half. 3-2 the score. Harrison leads over Midland, and it is.
Yeah,
defensive offside.
That's tough. That's just sometimes a lack of discipline or a little bit over anxious by the defense's part. They know if they get a stop on 4th and 2 feet, they take the ball over. But it's a good call and excellent discipline on Midland's part not to jump, to go on the infinite cadence, we call it.
1st and 10. Midland still has 1 timeout left. Keep an eye on Dana to the far right. Wallace will flare it out, and it's incomplete. Excellent coverage over there by Brendan Cotter. He was looking for Twombly. The pass was right there, but Cotter timed it beautifully.
That's an excellent job by Cotter coming from his linebacker position to get to the underneath coverage. You see Cotter just off to the flat a little bit to the right of your screen, and he gets there. That's a nice job. They had walked him off a little bit. Coach Harrington guessing that it would be a pass by Midland. He walked him off to the strong side of the field.
Brendan Cotter, 6-foot senior. First day of practice this year, of course. Coach Harrington said, welcome back, Cotter. Long pass down the left sideline, tipped and complete. Coverage that time by Kevin Bryant. 2 consecutive fine defensive plays by the Harrison Hawks. Again, a pretty nice pass that time by Brent Wallace, Rob.
Yeah, you'll see here, they're trying to feature Dana. They run him on a post corner, we call it. He fakes the post, he goes back to the corner. What an excellent break on the ball by Kevin Bryant, who makes the play. Not only is Midland 3rd and 10 here, Midland needs to think about getting 5 or 6 yards to get in field goal range.
Wallace will look down the left sideline. Incomplete. Looking for Jason Marshinik down the sideline. Good pressure up there. Mark Lesperance lowered the boom on Brent Wallace just after he got rid of it, but forced him to throw it a little bit quicker. Timeout called by Midland on 4th and 10. They will go for it. I got a fine kicker in Chris Stanton, but I'm not sure if they're going to let him try one here from 49, approximately.
Rick, we were talking earlier about how Midland wants to make it a quick game. And we say quick game by controlling the ball, keeping the clock going. They've had the ball 8 minutes and 16 seconds in the second quarter compared to 2:03 by Harrison. When your offense is on the field, I mean, it's hard for the other team to score unless you have a big turnover. And the game right now is only 52 minutes into the game. And it's going to be halftime in 21 seconds. It's a quick half. The clock's been going. I think that works to Midland's advantage because I feel, as we were discussing before the game, that Harrison might be a little bit better at the skill positions.
Well, 21 ticks left, and on 4th and 10 from the 32. We've not seen Chris Stanton come out on the field yet for Midland.
Spread them out.
4th and 10. 2 wideouts left. Over the middle, tipped and incomplete. I believe somebody got a hand on it at the line. Charles Bambanek, I think, might have got the big paw up there and just got enough of it to direct him. We'll watch and see if it's 89 Bambanek that gets a hand up there.
What breaks this play up is we got an inside linebacker stunning. Jake Miller, the lone back, sees it. He just can't get to him quick enough to pick him up. We get penetration and they knock the pass down.
It was 60, Tim Bears. Now with 17 seconds to go, Harrison will try to get something going. Pacey over the middle. Nice grab for the first down. The clock stops with 11 seconds to go. Catch out of the backfield by Nick Burgess for the first down. Brought down by Dave Bargeron. But at the 45, Harrison now calls its timeout. It has one more left.
They just showed the replay, and as you can see that Harrison came out in a spread formation, one back. They split Granger to one side. They had Williams alone in the backfield. They're trying to spread the defense, open up some passing lanes. Midland right now, I think, is going to, during the timeout, is going to adjust, and you see a few more people in the coverage, knowing that there's only 11 seconds, basically time for 1, maybe 2 plays. You can't allow yourself anyone behind you. If you're a defensive D-back or linebacker, you cannot let people get behind you right now. Here it is again. They're spreading them out, and they hit the crossing route. And I think Coach Joswiak is going to put a few more defensive backs.
I think we saw some of the philosophy, though, of John Harrington there, Rob, in that when they got the ball back after the change of possession with 23 seconds to go, most coaches in the state of Michigan would say, well, we're We're down by 1. Run a play in the line. Let's get in the locker room. He says, I've got the ball. I've still got time to score.
Most coaches don't have Kevin Bryant, Jason Granger either. You got people like that.
11 seconds to go, and remember, Harrison still has another timeout left. Pacey will stay in the pocket. Long over the middle, tipped and incomplete. Nick Burgess went up, couldn't quite come down with it. Now with 6 seconds to go. Pressure in there by Jacob Austin defensively on the quarterback Joe Pacey, the 6'2 senior.
Well, we may see the Hail Mary play coming up right now, splitting 2 or 3 guys out, throwing it up for grabs. The only problem is I don't feel Pacey can throw it 60 yards to the end zone. So even if they catch it, they may and get tackled, the clock probably will run out.
Pacey, unless a penalty, this will be the final play. And is that a flag? I believe we do have a flag.
It's either a flag or he's throwing a marker.
Yeah, we'll check it out. It might be a face mask penalty. And if that is the case, as John Miles combined on the tackle for Midland with Chad Ignatowski, a half cannot end on a defensive penalty. So although there are 0 showing on the board,
this could be a big play, Rick, because it gives them 15 yards more, and then Pacey probably can throw it to the end zone. You give them a chance to go up, one of their excellent athletes, to go up and make a play and get a touchdown. If it's a big one.
The signal right here.
Oh,
it is face mask against the Chemics.
It's a spot foul, though, Rick, so it's from the spot.
Well, it'll go down to the 46-yard line. Now we have an untimed down now as John Harrington uses his final timeouts. And you don't see too many high school football games, Rob, where both teams use all their timeouts in the first half.
I like it. It shows aggressiveness. Shows good clock management, also trying to get the most out of the half, utilizing your time. And once again, they're not here by accident. Harrison and Midland, they're well-coached, well-disciplined teams. These gentlemen with, about 50 years of high school coaching combined, and about 450 to 450 wins. There's a reason we see them here year after year, Rick, and that they have excellent programs. The kids know what to expect when they come into the program. They know they have to commit to winning. But they also know that if they do commit, believe in the program, there's a chance they could end up in Pontiac in the Dome.
All right, this is an untimed down, which means the half will end unless there is a penalty again against the defense. Kevin Bryant is wide to the right, and Jason Granger also split out wide to the right, which would tend to indicate they're going to throw long. A couple of speed merchants out there for the Harrison Hawks. Pacey will drop back in the pocket. He'll wait as long as he can. Long over the middle and incomplete. Coverage over there by Mike Kloss, and that ends the first half. A low-scoring one. But that is the end of the first half. With our score, Farmington Hills Harrison 3 and Midland 2. We'll be right back with the second half in a moment. You're watching the MHSAA football finals. Harrison Hawks with a 3-2 lead over Midland at the half. No, not at the end of the fourth inning. It's 3-2, Rob Rubik, and two teams getting ready for the second half kickoff. Let's briefly mention some of the things that happened in the first half, and here's the scoring summary. You see the 35-yard field goal by Brock Gove, and in the second quarter, Joe Pacey of Harrison tackled in the end zone. Those are the only points of this contest, and if you're Coach Joswiak for Midland, I've got to think you're pretty pleased keeping this vaunted Harrison offense off the scoreboard other than that field goal. We see this first half, Rob, and just not a whole lot of yards either way.
Well, the stats are relatively even. no fumbles, no turnovers, no interceptions. And that's the reason it's a 3-2 game. The stats are indicative of the score so far. The coaches themselves, I think, as you were pointing out, that Coach Joswiak is probably a little more pleased. Coach Harrington coming in, I feel Coach Harrington thought that they would be able to move the ball a little bit better than they have so far. But Midland is just one of those teams that comes out, they're not real flashy, but they line up and they're strong between the tackles. And it's really hard to keep any sustained drive going.
Well, you know, Harrison averages 23 points a game normally in scoring, and so this is obviously far below their average. Over 250 total yards a game they also average, so fine job defensively by both squads here. Harrison will kick it off here to start the second half, moving right to left. Moving it from the 40, Brock Gove will kick it off. Joe Dana, Rod Bauer, and Jake Miller deep to receive. We'll keep an eye defensively, by the way, when Midland's on defense at number 16, Mike Klaus, who was injured late in that first half. Line drive kick, Miller will watch it hit, bobble it, and then take it at the 5. Jake Miller 15 to the 20 and the 22. Rob, to teach a youngster that timing and the angle to block a punt is one of the most difficult things, isn't it?
That's a great point, Rick, because everyone wants to go and hit the ball. What you have to do is when you're attacking a punter, you have to attack about 2.5 yards from where he's standing to where the kick point is, and actually you're about a half yard ahead of the kick point, because if you miss, you want to fly by and not impede the punter's path. What happened there is his angle was too tight, and after the ball was hit, his momentum carried him to the leg of the punter.
The march-off keeps the ball in the hands of the Chemics, 1st and 10. After a good defensive stand by Harrison, they'll have to do it again. Rod Bauer cuts inside for about 3 or 4. Good reaction there by Rod Bauer. He wanted to go wider, I think, but made a nice cut.
There was just nothing there. It was an off tackle to the left, and he did a nice job kind of bellying it back over the center and found a little gap for about 4 to 5 yards. That's the way you want to start off the series, with a 5-yard gain, not a 1-yard loss.
Nick Williams and Nick Burgess combine on the tackle, 2nd and 5. Miller hit after a very short gain there, knocked into the air to about the 45-yard line, bringing up about a 3rd down and 3. Tim Bears in on the tackle. I want to thank our spotters today, Dan Edwards, Gordon Josma in the booth. 3rd and 3.
Steve Warner also is here helping us out today.
We got a full crew here. Bauer has the first down near the midfield stripe. Good blocking on the left side of the line for Rod Bauer. Brought down by Burgess, but not till he gets the first down.
This is a Midland trademark that you're seeing right now. Utilizing all 3 downs, you get about 3, 3.5, 3, 3.5, 3, 3.5 first down. They get all 3 of their downs every time. They just don't get a lot of big plays. They just keep gnawing at you.
They still trail on the scoreboard by 1, 3-2, but they're on the move. Jake Miller, right side, hammered down after a couple yards. He's into Harrison territory at about the 47-yard line. Brendan Cotter in there for Harrison on the tackle, along with Gary Lesperance.
We have the brothers Lesperance in the defensive line, I believe, for Harrison today.
That they do.
Mark
Should make sure I mention the first name. I called Lesperance out a few times, trying to cover up, of course, as an announcer. I got a pretty good chance if it's one of them. This is Jake Miller, and he stopped after a very short gain to the 45. This will bring up about a 3rd down and 5. One thing that Midland has not been able to do so far today, Rob, is throw the football in 3rd down situations, and they're facing one here that they may have to put it up.
Well, their offensive passing game is somewhat limited for the fact that they like to go to Dana. Harrison's not letting that happen. They're going under and over coverage on him. As you see, Cotter walks out for the deep, and you have Bryant taking it away.
Dave Twomley is a tight end on the right side. Instead, they give to Bauer, who breaks one tackle and is close to a first down. I believe he's a little bit short. Good effort there by Rod Bauer. And let's see if we need a measurement or not. Brought down by Mark Lesperance and his brother Gary as well. So the Lesperance brother combined for the tackle, and they say we do not need a measurement. He's got about a foot to go. Yeah, the fact they didn't measure it there does not mean it wasn't that close.
Right.
You can see the ball is right on the 41-yard line, and the end of the chains is just beyond that. So fourth down.
Well, I got to believe right now, if I'm Midland, I want to get the ball in the hands of number 14.
Both sides roaring.
Oh.
Quarterback sneak. Wallace carries and gets it.
Shows you what I know, once again. Quarterback sneak.
He followed his center, Steve Taylor, for the first down.
The reason that sneak was so successful is they're in an even front where the two down men are covering the guards. The center is uncovered, and there's a natural gap. You can see the replay here. It's a quick count also. He comes up behind Steve Taylor with a good drive block from the center position, picks up the first down, sustains the drive. The Chemics are on the march.
There's the pitch out to Bauer for the wide, and that's swallowed up quickly by the Harrison defense. 6:15 to go in the third quarter. Harrison still leads by 1 after the tackle by Brendan Bell.
The last play we just saw Midland try to run is the quick pitch. In their previous games, to throw their season, they tried to utilize that quite often. They must have seen something on Harrison's defense, either their team speed or that they were playing their ends outside, where they really haven't tried to do it much today. They must have felt it wasn't there.
Bill Dennis put out wide to the left. They fire it to Dana in the flat, makes the catch, and a good offensive tackle by Kevin Bryant. It looked like he was going to get away, but Bryant held on, and number 1, Kevin Bryant, for Harrison with a good tackle, brings up a third and long. We'll watch it again and watch Kevin Bryant defensively.
This is the little fade pass. I call it a fade, but you watch Dan at the top of your screen. Wallace comes under center, and he just throws it to a predetermined spot. Dana goes and get it. That is an excellent play by Bryant coming up on a one-on-one tackle.
From the 36, 3rd and 7. Wallace to the air, over the middle, tip, and incomplete. Early kickoff, he was looking for Dave Broadley.
I think he should punt him deep right now. I'm not trying to call plays, but football is a game of field position. It's like a war. You get as much territory as you can get when you get stopped, then you give it up, try to pen the other team up, and regroup.
Jake Lawson was the one who took that pass. Stanton in to punt again. Good pressure again.
They roughed him again.
Inside the 10.
He might be hurt.
This time Stanton is shaken up.
I think that's an excellent call. I hear some of our high school fans aren't too appreciative of it right now. But we got a replay coming right here. And I think it's Lesperance right up the middle. Oh, and he takes his plant leg out. He didn't hit his punting leg, but the leg that he lands on, he took it right out. It was a good call. Once again, these high school officials are here, Rick, because they do make good calls.
Psychologically, what does this do to the Harrison defense? As Rob, they have twice on this drive stopped the offense and only a rough in the kicker penalty keeps the drive alive.
It does two things. One, it makes you start to question, what do we have to do to get the ball back? But on the other hand, you stopped it twice. You know you can do it, so hopefully you can do it again. Just got to suck it up.
We've got under 5 minutes to go in the quarter. Harrison has not had the ball in this third quarter. They only had the ball 10.5 minutes in the entire first half. On first down, Jake Miller will hammer for about 3 inside the 20.
I tell you, this may not be the most exciting game for someone who wants to see a bunch of points put on the board. But if you like high school football or football in general, you can appreciate this type of defensive game and ball control game. It's a disciplined style football game.
2nd and 7 for the Chemics, who split Joe Dan out wide to the left. Jake Miller has no room. Got him maybe a yard. Tim Bears, though, swallowed him up along with Gary Lesperance, and now it'll be 3rd and long.
The difference between this 3rd and long, 3rd, 5, or 6, and the last one is now Midland's in field goal range. It gives Stanton a chance if he's all right after he got roughed on the punt. But this is definitely within his range. So now you can be maybe a little more conservative. You can run the ball on 3rd, 5. You don't have to throw it.
Great reaction by Dave Twomley on the deflection. Ball underthrown and tipped. But watch it again, Rob.
You see the replay, we have a monster blitz coming from the weak side. He just can't get there in time. Wallace gets the pass off. Twomley stays with it, pulls it in. That's excellent concentration. It was well defended by Harrison. The defender was there. He just couldn't knock the ball down. You try to teach your defenders to knock it down instead of tip it up. They're going for 2.
They will go for 2 now with an 8-3 lead, and here comes the flag. May have taken too long to get it off. Yes, that's pretty much a good decision. A 5-point lead is a little better than a 4-point lead, but not a whole lot.
It's pretty much a no-brainer because right now if you kick it, it gives you a 6-point lead. So that means the other team scores and converts, you trail. This way, if you make the 2-pointer, although now, with the penalty, Rick, it might change his philosophy. It does. He's going to kick it now. It's a lot harder to score from the 8 than it is from the 2.
Now Stanton will attempt the extra point. This will be effective a 25-yard field goal, and he drills it. Pretty impressive by Chris Stanton.
I know Coach Dwozniak is a little disappointed because they couldn't go for 2. But he gets the 1. Now Harris needs a touchdown and a conversion to take the lead.
We talked, Rob, about the psychology of those 2 calls keeping the drive alive. Now John Harrington, the veteran coach for Harrison, I'm sure that the Harrington faithful are glad that they've got, the Harrison faithful rather, are glad they've got Coach Harrington down there because he's the kind of coach that can handle the adversity that affected his team last drive.
Well, he's been there. He's seen it before, Rick. You know, when you coach 20-some years, you've seen it all over the course of your career. He'll know how to motivate his kids, how to pull them back together, to let them shake it off. Football is also a game of quick change. When something sudden change happens that's negative, you have to turn around and turn it into a positive for your team.
A 78-yard drive. They took up 8 minutes and 18 seconds of this 3rd quarter. And Harrison will get the ball back, and most of the 3rd quarter will be gone. It's the first possession that they'll have of this 2nd half. Stanton will kick it off. Bryant and Granger deep. Line drive kick comes to an up man at the 23, at the 31-yard line. It was Dave Hensel falling on it. Pretty good reaction by Hensel. It was like a line drive at shortstop. Took a bad hop at him, and he recovered, and from the 30, Harrison will get it now, trailing for the first time in the ball game, 9-3.
Let's see if Midland's defense can come out back up with their offense did on the last series. He's going to stop, or how Harrison reacts. I got to believe you have to get Jason Granger involved.
Granger is the deep back, but this is Nick Williams, the fullback, and he has nowhere to go. Chad Ignatowski hit him at the line. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Midland, I think, had an inside stun on it. I'm not positive, but I thought they stunned Ignatowski, who was the middle backer, and he filled. They tried to run the inside trap to Williams, but that time the trapping guard couldn't pick up the blitzing linebacker and stopped it for no gain.
Staying in that eye, Pacey on the end around. Granger looks for a hole, makes his own one, and close to a first down. Jason Granger, it didn't look, the play took so long to develop as we've got an injured Midland Chemic. But that play took so long to develop here, Rob, it didn't look like he had anywhere to go, and then he just exploded across for about an 8-yard pickup.
Yeah, they just lined Granger up on the wing that time when Williams alone in the backfield. They just run a little wing reverse, a tight wing reverse to him, and he picks up 10 yards, and he was about a half a step away from going about 70 yards.
Jacob Austin is shaken up for Midland on the play here. They attend to him. Austin was hurt on the play before this one and was kind of wobbly coming into that set, and now they're checking over to see if he's okay.
Well, I had a hard time with that last play because my spotter told me, he said it had a little note, it said Granger wipeout on. I was like, wipeout? What do you mean? He meant wideout. That had him lined up at the wideout and they ran a reverse to him. So we have to have our spotters work on their printing a little bit.
Well, as they attend to the injured player, glad you could join us here at the Pontiac Silverdome, high above the lower arena, the lower bowl, if you will, Rob Rubik. And you mentioned earlier one of the keys for Coach Harrington of Harrison was getting Granger in the open field. Well, that time they brought him from a flanker position, gave him in on the end around, and that's one way to get him out there and try to use some of that speed.
I was just pointing out when they got the ball that they need to get Jason involved in the offense. He's been their big play man the entire year. Once again, now they have Williams alone in the flow. They got a power formation. They may try to play a little wham football.
3rd and short this time. Williams, the favorite to get the ball here. He does, and he's got the first down and more. Needs to beat one more man, and he brings him down at the 16-yard line. Brian Page saved a touchdown. 46 yards on the run by Nick Williams, and the Harrison crowd erupts on the near side.
Well, they come out in the power I here, Rick. It's a 3rd and short, and what happens a lot of times, if you can pop through the line of scrimmage, everyone's up. There's a lot of running room. Williams, look at that speed. I got to believe by end of next year he's going to have a lot of colleges talking with him. And if it wasn't for Page taking up good pursuit angle, that would have been a touchdown.
1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. Nick Williams powers his way for about 3 to the 11, bringing up about a 2nd down and 7 as John Miles in on the tackle for Midland.
Not sure. I wonder would have liked to run Nick Williams again there. He's probably still sucking a little bit of air from the last run, which was 46 yards. But this is right now. This could be a turning point of the game right here. Who's got the grit right now, Rick? Who's going to suck it up? And is it the offense or the defense?
Williams stays in there as the deep back in the power I. And Nick Williams again hurdles over the line of scrimmage inside the 10 to the 8. Miles again in on the tackle for Midland along with Mike Klaus, who is back in there, as we mentioned, although he was shaken up late in the first half. The Midland Chemics lead Farmington Hills Harrison by 5. But the Hawks of Harrison just 8 yards away from tying it, and then an extra point could put them on top with 1:03 to go in the 3rd quarter. Williams again. No, the bootleg. Pacey inside the 5, down to the 2. Well, Pacey fooled a number of defenders, Rob, and at least one announcer up in the press box with a fine fake into the belly of Nick Williams.
That time they line up in the power I, and right here you see the power I. Williams is a deep back. Pacey comes on the line, fakes to Williams, and all of this is a quarterback power keep. He has 3 backs leading him to the outside. Excellent call. Coach Harrington had not shown that yet.
1st and goal from the 2. Brendan Cotter is in the backfield, but this is Nick Williams, the horse, to the 1, actually inside the 1, to about the half-yard line, 2nd and goal. And I'll be quite surprised, as will you, Rob, if anybody other than Nick Williams carries the ball here, unless Pacey decides to keep it on the sneak. If he hands it off, I'm sure it'll be Williams.
I think Coach Harrington would be surprised if anyone other than Williams got it, too. You got a horse, you got to ride it.
Williams remains the deep back. Pacey over center, gives to Nick Williams for 6. the left side there.
Well, Rick, we both called it. This is nothing new. You got your power I formation, kind of almost like inverted bow. Just lead the two backs through, give it to Williams coming behind, and he made it in quite easily. It was a good call. It was nothing fancy, just power football.
Brock Gold will attempt the extra point. The holder, Joe Pacey. The kick is good. And Harrison back out on top, 10-9, with 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Well, now you look at the score, Rick. It's 10-9. What a big penalty. Midland was all set to go for 2 points, the 2-point conversion after their touchdown, which would have given them 10 points if they could have made it. They got a procedure penalty. It puts them back to the 8. Coach Jozwiak had no choice but to kick it then. Now they trail 10-9. Will they be able to get back down there?
So penalties, a key on both sides of the ball then, as the two roughing the kicker penalties helped allow them to score. And then the delay of game kept them from going for 2, which could have made this a tie game. 70-yard drive, just 3:32. And there's perhaps the biggest difference in these two clubs. You talked about it, Rob, in the pregame. Harrison went 70 yards in just 3.5 minutes, where it took over 8 minutes for Midland to score.
Yeah, you could tell Coach Jozwiak from Midland that if he could score a touchdown, if he could do it in 8 minutes, or if he could do it in 3 minutes, he would take the 8 minutes.
Brock Gold will boot it away. Joe Dana, Rod Bauer, and Jake Miller deep to receive for Midland. High kick. Bauer will take it at the 15. To the 25. Across the 30 to the 32. Rod Bauer, a hard-running ball player, had an 82-yard touchdown run last week in the semifinal victory over a fine Jenison team. And he got a block there, getting him out across the 30. So 1st and 10 for the Chemics, who now must respond on what could be, and it will be, the final play of the third quarter. That is the end of the third quarter. With our score, Farmington Hills Harrison 10 and Midland 9. You're watching the MHSAA football finals. All right, Rob, we've had a close game the whole way. The third quarter had probably a little more excitement than the other two combined, but it's still anybody's ball game.
Well, when we were talking about the offensive keys to the game for both teams prior to the game, Harrison wanted to get Granger involved and also use the power game of Nick Williams. The power game came through. Granger on the low end around gave him a first down when they needed 10 yards. So offensively, Harrison finally established what they wanted to do. On the other hand, Midland offensively did what they wanted to do. He got the ball into Bauer. Williams just pounded the ball, ate up the clock. A few key penalties kept their drive alive, and they scored. Once again, I know I've said this a lot, Rick, but he's shortening the game. He's making it go quick. He's controlling the ball, keeping it out of the Harrison's skilled kids' hands. And that's important for. That's the reason right now it's a 10-9 game.
Well, one thing Coach Jozwiak didn't say to you, Rob, in the pregame strategy was talked about turning the ball over. It's almost assumed at this level here, but against an explosive team especially, you turn it over at the 30 or 35-yard line. 2 plays later, Harrison's in the end zone. They have not done that.
They don't, Rick. That's why they're here. They just don't do it. They're very solid.
1st and 10 for Midland now. Rod Bauer off the left side. Good second effort across the 35 to the 36. You talked about shortening the game, Rob. Through 3 quarters possession time, Midland almost 22 minutes, and Forest Hills. How about Farmington Hills? Harrison has 14 minutes of possession time.
Those Grand Rapids roots are showing.
Boy, it certainly is. Jake Miller on the pitch across the 40 to the 42, close to a first down. Little toss sweep there that we haven't seen too much of, and I like the way that the blockers got in front of it for that time for Midland.
You'll see that when they run their little quick pitch, he likes to run it to the boundary. Most teams don't. Most teams want to run a quick pitch to the wide side of the field. He'll run it to the short side. He pulls tackle, guard, and offside guard. The offside guard just picks up anything coming through the middle, and that's why it looks like he has a convoy in front of him.
It is a first down for the Chemics, trailing by 1, 10-9. First minute of play of the 4th and final period in the Class A state championship here at the Silverdome. Jake Miller will get a few hard-earned yards to the 45, bring up 2nd down and about 8.
You'd have feeling when you watch this Midland offense and you're just like watching a rerun. Every time they get the ball, it's just pound, 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 and it's just, it's everything that the Midland coaching staff wanted to do and thought they could do. They weren't positive, but now I think their hopes and dreams are coming true a little bit, being able to control the ball.
Dana to the left on 2nd and 8. Bauer cuts inside to the midfield, and good second effort gets him the first down. Well, Rod Bauer, great job of spinning that time as soon as he was hit.
I tell you what, that's one tough kid there. He looks like, 2 or 3 times, it looks like he's stopped. They have him clogged up. He spins, he bounces, he keeps it going. You'll see the replay here. It's nothing fancy. It's just a trap. You see the right guard pulling, kicking out. He tucks up in there nice, patter. A couple of them have him. He spins, gets 2, 3 more yards. That's effort. That's toughness.
We called it a first. We'll have to bring the chains out to see if it is or not. In any case, Rod Bauer, the 5'8", 180-pound senior, terrific effort on that one. They stretch it out and say first down, Chemics. Well, this game may come down to a field goal attempt, and we've got 2 fine ones here. Brock Gove for Harrison and Chris Stanton for Midland, who has already booted 1 field goal today. Or correction, it's Gove who's kicked a field goal for Harrison. Rod Bauer, this time to about the 45, got the couple. 2nd and 8.
We just watched that last play. Harrison put a little new wrinkle in their defense. They kind of went to a flex look with their nose. Mark Lesperance had him about 2 to 3 yards off the ball. He's only, what, about 5'5", 145 pounds, playing nose at a state Class A final team. That's pretty impressive. He has great quickness.
Here's the pitch out to Rod Bauer. Cuts inside. Got about 3.5. And it'll be 3rd down and about 4 or 5. Now, somebody to keep an eye on, perhaps, Rob, is the tight end for Midland, number 90, Chris Lloyd. They haven't even attempted to throw to him yet, but last week in the semifinals, Lloyd made 2 catches that were both 3rd down keys that kept this kind of drive alive. So keep an eye on number 90. Back to pass. Over the middle and incomplete.
Boy, do you have a little crystal ball up here, Rick? That's exactly what they did. They tried to lull you to sleep by going off tackle, inside, off tackle, to try to throw the tight end pot down the seam. But Harrison wasn't buying it, and they had it well covered. It's going to bring up a 4th and 4 in a punting situation.
Good pressure in there by Ed Kennedy on the quarterback, and the Chemics will have to punt it away. Chris Stanton to punt. Dave Hensel, the lone back to receive for the Hawks. And a flag before the snap.
If it happens to be on Harrison, it could be a huge call. If it's motion.
They've already seen 2 4th down penalties keep drives alive against them, they being Harrison. It's procedure, though, against the kicking team. So this really, you're a coach, Rob. You don't like any type of penalty, but if you've got to have one, if you're Coach Joswiak, this one doesn't hurt as much as the other ones because it just moves you back 5 yards.
On the 42-yard line, you're trying to punt and keep it out of the end zone anyways. This gives you a little more field to work with. He may have tried to draw Harrison off on that last play, but one of his kids couldn't hold his water a little bit, as we say, and move.
Snap, good snap to Stanton. High kick towards the sideline. Hits at the 5. Dana saves it at the 1. Woo! Joe Dana downfield, a terrific punt by Stanton. And Joe Dana with terrific coverage inside the 1.
Now we're going to get another look at this. Not only was it an excellent punt, but the coverage by Dana, having the presence to be there. Here you see he gets a lot of time. Harrison doesn't rush. He takes his time, gets a good drop. I think Jimmy Arnold would be envious of this for the Lions. Dana was right there. The 5-yard penalty worked out to Midland's favor, gave a little more field to work with.
It's one of their better plays this quarter, right? So 1st and 10 from the 1. Sounds like Nick Williams' time to me again till they get a little bit of room. This is Nick Williams, who got maybe 1.5 yards out near the 3. Give him a couple, call it 2nd and 8, as Mike Kloss again in on the tackle for Midland. 8:25 to go and counting in the fourth period. Harrison with the football, leading by 1.
Rick, are you a little surprised at how the game's gone so far? We were talking before the game, we thought Harrison may have had a few too many offensive weapons. But Midland seems to be hanging pretty tough so far.
Yeah, I thought that we'd have seen by this time 4, maybe 5 touchdowns in the game combined. 2nd and 8. Williams cuts in nicely across the 5 out to the 9. That'll bring up a 3rd and short. And with 7:55 to go, an obvious key situation as Ben Knorr made the tackle for the Chemics.
Huge play. I wouldn't be surprised if I was Midland's defensive coordinator right now. The chances of Farmington Hills, here's a replay. A little power eye, nothing we haven't seen about 30 times today. Nick Williams running it out to 9. I might send my linebackers, get him in some gaps, try to make a big play because a first down here costs you 3 more minutes off the clock.
Williams remains the deep back. This is Nick Williams running wide, and I believe has the first down with some second effort. He's across the 11, and all he had to do was get to the 11. 1st and 10 Hawks. .7:17 and counting in the fourth.
Nick Williams seems to be proven to be the money man for Harrison today. Every key situation so far, they've given him the ball, and he's come through.
Getting some good blocking up there from Brock Gove, the up back in this I formation here. He follows Gove again towards the 15. And it picks up about 3. Jacob Austin on the tackle for Midland. 2nd and 7.
The clock keeps on ticking. We're down to 6.5 minutes to go in the game, Rick. This is a key. Another, we keep saying key, and they're big play, big play. But they are. When you get down to this point in the game, you need to stop. You have to get the ball back. Every first down takes about 2.5 to 3 minutes off the clock.
Harrison stays in that power I. Pacey will keep. Has a man open over the middle and complete. Looking for Nick Burgess. Blair Stewart on the coverage. But one of the keys there is Joe Pacey had a man open, but Scott McManus was pressuring him and didn't allow him to throw it really when he needed to.
Yeah, not only was that a key with the pressure, but the contain. Pacey would like to have gotten outside a little bit more, but besides the pressure from coming inside, the contained man would not let him keep on going. As we'll see in the replay here. Oh.
Well, we won't see it.
I guess we
we'll
won't.
Get it. All right, big play here. 3rd down and 7, and timeout called by Harrison.
Well, now maybe we will see the replay.
So with 6:18 to go in the game, it's 10-9 Harrison, timeout. John Harrington wants to go over this. You know, the ticket you purchased to a high school athletic event is a privilege to watch a contest and to support extracurricular activities, not a license to verbally assault others and be generally obnoxious. Be a positive role model by encouraging and supporting all aspects of sports. Remember, good sports are winners.
Good job. There was the replay. You saw Miles was 151 coming from the outside containing. He rolled off his block, which forced Pacey to step up, pull up, and throw a little bit sooner than he would have liked to.
So 3rd and 8, actually closer to 3rd and 7 here, Rob. And boy, Nick Williams has been your horse here, but you're asking an awful lot here for 7 yards. And I got to think that if they're going to pick it up, they're probably going to have to do it through the air.
Right. I think the ones we need to watch here are number 1 and 2 in your program, Kevin Bryan and Jason Granger. Granger's have been very silent in the second half, besides one little wing reverse they ran.
Well, Granger is the deep back now.
Yep. And you also have Bryant lined up as a tight end on the left.
Possible screen here on 3rd and long. Pacey rolling out. Looking downfield for Bryant. He has it for the first down. Kevin Bryant in the flat, brought down by Brian Page.
Lou Rico, that time he lines up Granger as a deep back instead of Nick Williams in the power I, and then he lines up Bryant at the tight end and runs him on about a 12-yard out. An excellent catch, a well-developed, well-designed play. A huge first down for Harrison.
6:07 to go. The clock stops momentarily while they set the chains. And now they started. Now they keep Granger in that deep back here, and they stay in the, they've offset that eye. Here's Nick Williams with a hole up the middle and plenty of room to run. Out for another first down at the 39-yard line. Andy Castle brought him down, but good blocking up the middle that time for Nick Williams.
They're starting to control the line of scrimmage. They finally, here it is, another little inside trap that they've run all day long. Jason Bloomberg inside along with Chad Chomsky and Steve Shahid. They're doing an excellent job inside trapping the Midland defense. And as a down lineman, after you've been trapped about 30 times, it starts to wear on you, Rick.
Now they go back to the power eye, keeping the defense off balance. Nick Williams with good blocking out in front of him. Look at that surge out to the midfield stripe. He had a big hole to run through, and then after he picked up about 7, he hit about 3 defensive backs, including Mike Kloss and Jacob Austin, and drove the pile backwards. So we saw the speed and strength, but again, the key there was the hole on the left side of the line for Nick Williams.
And with Matt Zimmer, along with Steve Shahid, you're running power eye football. They just keep giving it to Williams, and it's 230 pounds. You tackle that all day, it just starts to wear you out.
Under 5 minutes to go here in this fourth quarter. Midland trailing by 1, needs to get the ball back, but Harrison doesn't have any intention of cooperating as a 3-yard run by Williams. And I guess turnabout is fair play after Midland kept the ball out of Harrison's hands for most of this game. Now the Hawks are turning the favor now as they've got the lead in the football, which on a drive that started on their own 1-yard line, and there's only 4.5 minutes to go now.
As a football coach, this is something that you dream of, being able to control the ball, keep it out of the opponent's hand this late in the game with the lead. This is what championship teams are made of. We also have Brian as a tight end on the right side.
Williams for a couple more. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 2.5. Andy Castle in there for the Chemics along with Ben Knorr. Under 4 minutes to go on this one. Harrison trying to wind down the final minutes and hold on to this precarious 1-point advantage.
I wonder, right now, if you come up short, Rick, you go for it on 4th down with 3rd and 2. Think about it. He may have that decision to make here in a minute.
Let's see if that's a moot point or not. Williams, left side. Did not get it. It'll be 4th down and 1.
He's going to punt him.
And he will punt it. Good hit defensively by Andy Castle and Blair Stewart for Midland, bringing up a 4th and 1 with 3:17 to go. We'll see it.
Oh, they did bring their inside linebackers that time. The blitzing, I believe, I'm not sure that was Chad Messinger or who that was.
Rick Smith into punt, Joe Dana to receive. Good snap. Smith, a line drive kick. Dana watches it hit at the 14, and it's out of bounds into the end zone. Very close to going out near the 1. Well, I'll tell you, Rob, Harrison did not score there, but they took over the ball at their own 1-yard line with 8 minutes and 54 seconds to go. They ate up 6 minutes and 1 second of the 8:54 left.
I think you're going to see, right now, Midland, being a running team, they may have to come out in their solo or spread formation. So he's coming out in a double tight with a wing. I just think with 2 minutes and 53 seconds, you're going to have to be able to throw it.
First down, they'll give to Rod Bauer, who gets a couple. 2:49 to go. We should mention that Midland has all 3 timeouts left.
And they also have a great kicker. That's true. I forget about the field goal sometime at the high school level. But now when you have Chris Stanton standing on the sidelines, who in a dome, I got to believe from 45 and in, you have a good chance.
Brock Gove on the tackle, 2nd down and 8. 2.5 minutes to go in this one. Midland trailing by 1. Wallace, play action fake. Long over the middle, and there is Lloyd, incomplete. That was the identical play that Chris Lloyd connected with Brent Wallace with last week in the semis, and about the same distance. We'll watch it again.
This comes off a little play action to Bauer that breezes the linebackers. See the fake. It's a straight about 7 steps. He lets it go down the middle. The ball is well thrown. just about 6 inches too far. Lloyd couldn't quite make the catch. I'll tell you what, if I was Harrison's defensive coordinator, I wouldn't be happy with my DBs letting them get behind me.
3rd down and 7. One back behind Brent Wallace, who gives it to Bauer off the left side, breaking tackles and has the 1st down.
What a great call, Rick. That time, if you ever been an offensive coordinator or call plays before, it takes guts to call a running play on 3rd and 7 with the clock running out. That's why it was successful.
And he ran it to the short side,
They
Rob.
spread everyone out. They just pull. They just run a little. All it is they pull their offside tackle. It just gets enough of a piece of the defender, and Bauer does the rest. Clocks go. Oh, he got out of bounds and stopped the clock, too.
2:09 to go. Midland with the ball at the 37, sends Miller in motion. They'll pitch it to Bauer, running wide. Great pursuit, and there's a penalty flag coming flying in. Mark Lesperance on the tackle. We may have a holding call against Midland.
This could be an interesting decision by Coach Harrington to see if he takes it. He actually stopped him. It could be 2nd and 13. He stopped for about a 3 or 4 yard loss. We had excellent penetration on that last play by Mark Lesperance.
It's a clip against the Chemics, and that's going to hurt. Yeah, here's the big disadvantage if you have the type of team that Midland does, that'll hit you at 3-4 yards a pop. When you're looking now at a 1st down and 28 to go after the spot foul, that really makes it rough. But they've got 4 downs to do it, and right now at this point with 1:48 to go, they have to think in terms of the 1st down. Wallace pressured and sacked back inside the 10-yard line. I believe it was Tim Bears on the tackle.
We're going to look here on the replay. Yeah, he came from his right tackle position, caught up 2 defenders and makes the sack. A big-time play at a big time.
1.5 to go, and Midland calls its first of 3 timeouts. All right, Coach Rubeck, it's 2nd down and Lansing, and 2nd down and 40 specifically.
I'll tell you what
do you do here? All right.
I spread them out as much as I can, and I run both. I'm serious. You run them, you maybe spread them out in a solo formation where you try to widen the defense, make them look like pass, run them on a draw, either that or maybe a screen to them somehow. But right now, it doesn't matter what you run, Rick, they're thinking about you running it. Because that defense right now is saying, watch the screen, watch the draw, watch the fade, they're sitting back, and they're going to give you 5-10 yards, but they're not going to give you 30 or 40.
And if anybody should happen to get behind the Harrison defenders, I can assure you they'll make that short walk back to Farmington Hills.
Yeah, they won't do it by way of the Harrison bench in front of Coach Harrington.
In any case, 2nd down and 40. Midland now trailing by 1. Wallace in the pocket, over the middle, tipped and incomplete. Joe Dana got his hands on it. It'll be 3rd and 40 now for Midland with 1:21 to go. Clock stops on the incompletion.
I think Midland now may just have to try to throw it down the field in the direction of Joe Dana and hope that he's a good enough athlete, even if there's 2 defenders to go up and make the play. Right now, you need basically a miracle if you're Midland.
3rd down and 40. Midland would love to just try to pick up half of this yardage from his own goal line. Down here, down the sideline, incomplete, looking for Chris Lloyd. And we've got a flag on the play.
I think we have a holding call.
They'll certainly turn that one down if it is against Midland for holding. Bring up a 4th and 40. Dave Hensel. Well, I tell you, in this situation with 1:14 to go, well, you've got 2. If you'd had 3 timeouts left, they've only got 2. You'd punt the ball away, and it's not much of a chance, but it's a better chance than going for it on 4th and 40. We'll watch it again.
Right here.
Not a bad play though in that situation, as Twombly is open.
Yeah, if the ball wasn't quite hung up in the air so long, he might have had a chance. And Midland's going to punt it away.
with 1:14 to go.
Oh, I got to believe Harrison wouldn't even try to field this. I would bring all my people up on the line, tell no one to run back. You don't want to bounce off him and cause a fumble right now.
Chris Stanton
exactly
will punt it
what he's
away. Now he's going to take the safety. All right. I really like the call here by Gary Joswiak, because what he can do now, trailing by 1, he gives up the safety, and now he trails by 3, but he can get a free kick after the safety, and he will onside kick, and he has a much better chance of recovering the onside kick than he does of picking up a 4th and 40. Even though it's not a good chance, it's much better.
I guess you don't coach 24 years and haven't had this kind of situation, because I did not think of that. I don't believe you thought of it, or you would have told me. You'd probably tell everyone you did. But that's a great call. You can onside kick a safety. I'm not, to tell you the truth, I'm not positive you can, but you must be able to, or why else would they do it?
Oh, you can, and we will watch Chris Stanton now. And I won't be surprised if John Harrington, well, he's been able to talk with his team after the score. Well, the one thing I really thought going into this game today with you, Rob, was I knew we would see at least 2 safeties.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that going in.
Yeah. We also knew that Santa Claus would fly through the Silver Dome at the end of the 3rd quarter.
12-9. Well, watch this. Remember now, the odds favor the receiving team, but the one thing after all these years of football, you cannot predict the bounce of a football. Stanton will kick it, and then everybody will converge. It's high, they have to wait. It's loose on the sideline and out of bounds. A perfect kick by Chris Stanton. It bounced high, but it caromed over the sideline out of bounds, and Harrison will get it right there.
Midland's kids are very well coached on that, because they had a chance to hit the ball at about 8 yards, so they waited until it went 10. As soon as the Harrison receiver tried catching it, they hit him, they coughed it up, and they didn't have anyone covering the sidelines. You'll see the replay, an excellent kick. You see the Midland kids kind of slow down right here and wait. It comes up, it hits them at 10, they hit them. They didn't have the sidelines covered. When you cover an onside kick, one of the cardinal rules is you need someone to protect the boundary for anything going out of bounds.
Well, Joe Pacey will probably just go to one knee here. He will not. He'll give to Nick Williams up the middle. And Midland will call. Well, they won't call their timeout yet. Well, they do. They let about 5 or 6 extra seconds go off before they did call it. But now with 57 seconds to go, Midland uses its 2nd of 3 timeouts.
I think it's a moot point anyways. They have one more timeout left. I don't think they're going to be able to get the ball back.
You see the Harrison crowd starting to celebrate.
Yeah, Rick, we were just discussing how penalties have been such a key factor in this game. On the Midland drive, the 2 roughing punter penalties came into play. They came back to haunt them, and on the last drive, they had the big running play by Bauer to give them some breathing room out to the 35 or so. They get the holding penalties, which pen them back up. And it's been which is kind of nice in a way, because it evens things out. You don't feel one team had penalties that hurt them more than the other. And as a coach, that's what you look for. You look for consistency from the officials. And I think we've seen excellent officiating here today.
There's the veteran John Harrington in the finals for the 8th time. Unbelievable, going after his 6th state championship.
Let's see his trophy win.
Yeah. As they hand off to Nick Williams, he'll break one tackle, get across the 30 to the 26, and Midland will use its 2nd timeout. I still think, I don't know, I'm a little bit surprised they're handing the ball off here, because I don't know that they could, if they use the final timeout, they're going to the knee twice.
Was that their final timeout?
That was their final timeout, so in any case.
Well, they run 3rd down here, it'll take 5 seconds, but in the 2nd, they may have about 10 seconds left. But you always just take the ball and just kind of start running backwards down the field and eat it up, too, if the situation arises.
There you see the numbers on John Harrington, one of the true legends of coaching in the high school ranks in the state of Michigan. Farmington Hills Harrison lost in the Class A finals in '76 in Class B, in Class A rather, and then in Class B to Grand Rapids Catholic Central. Then won state championship in Class A in 82, in Double B in 91, and then in B in 81, 88, and 89. This would be their 6th state championship. Timeout called now by Harrison, as there was some confusion as to what type of play they wanted to run.
I think he's doing a little, Coach Harrington's doing a little calculating right now also, Rick, trying to figure out after this play, which usually takes about 5 seconds, the officials have to spot the ball, put it into play and start the 25-second clock. He may have to snap the ball again with, I don't know, 5, 6 seconds in the game. So maybe he's relaying some information right now, have his quarterback just snap it, go backwards, eat up as much time as he can. He may want to do that right here also. Maybe have his quarterback just, you're always afraid of that fumble.
3rd down. Harrison with the football and a 3-point advantage as the faithful will watch the final 50 seconds of this one. Class A championship at the Silverdome.
You know they can't be waiting for a TV timeout down there. Right?
No.
We have inside information on that.
That's right. And if they do hand it off, I'm sure it will go into the hands of Nick Williams. This is Williams up the middle, brought down at about the 27-yard line. The players were on pile. The clock runs with 44 seconds to go. Chad Ignatowski, one of the defensive stars for this Midland team all season long. They spotted it, I believe, at 37 seconds, Rob.
Yeah, that was a real officials game. Midland a break there. They really got a quick spot, got it down, and got it ready to play. Coach Harrington right now he'll probably call a timeout.
Yeah, or he'll tell them to take the delay here. The 5 yards really mean virtually nothing to the Hawks. And there they do take the delay with 11 seconds to go. And now, be interesting here. You'd love to have one of your backs go back and run around, but if you do, the clock will stop when the change of possession, and they'll give him another shot near the midfield stripe.
You don't want to fumble the ball back here. What he could do is have his quarterback drop back, and if you had a lot of faith in him, just have him throw it high in the air down towards the end zone because there's no defenders. And while the ball's in flight, too.
Tell him to try to throw it between the goalposts, you know.
I think he'll just run it or down it and figure his defense can stop
He's going back, and he kneels, and the clock will stop on the change of possession with 8 seconds to go. Now, important to note, the clock will start after they set the chains. So Midland, again, good coaching.
Yeah, they're ready.
They've got their team ready. Their offense is ready. They'll set the chains and start it with 7 seconds showing on the clock they show.
Yeah, you have a different quarterback in now. He must have a stronger arm.
Clock starts now with 5. This should be the final play of the game. It'll be razzle-dazzle. Miller will throw it out in the left flat, and it is tipped and incomplete.
There's your state champions, Rick.
The Harrison Hawks. Black Gold broke it up, and Harrison celebrates. And after their celebration, the teams will meet at the midfield area. The Midland Chemics' hearts are broken. And although they may feel the pain of a defeat right now, in time they'll realize what they accomplished this year. You see good sportsmanship there by John Harrington consoling Joe Dana for Midland. Coaching staff's now starting to meet at midfield. And the players showing the good sportsmanship that's such an important part of high school athletics.
They have everything in the world both teams to be proud of, nothing to be ashamed of. There's a lot of schools watching today.
A lot of surprises here in this one for us, Rob, as far as what we expected. Maybe we just didn't know what to look for, but we did not look for a 12-9 type game. We thought Harrison's quickness would be more of an advantage. It was not. It was actually the power game of Nick Williams that turned in the end to be one of the key factors. And we thought that Midland might try to shorten the game, as you said, and they did. But perhaps we didn't give enough credit to the Harrison defense against that Midland offense because they tightened up when they had to.
Yeah, it was a really well-executed game by both teams. But the keys to the game, once again, Coach Joswiak knew that they had to contain Granger, but he also knew that Williams could hurt you in the power game. They just could not stop him enough at key times.
Now the players are still congratulating each other, and both teams will reflect on this championship season, and believe me, it was a championship season for both squads. Although there is only one state champion crowned, and it's the Farmington Hills Harrison Hawks, who win 6th title under Coach John Harrington. 6 and 8, that's pretty impressive percentage to get to the championship game 8 times and win it 6.
That's incredible. To get
to it is unbelievable. 8.
To win it once is impressive to me.
Yeah.
And once you get out in the coaching ranks, you realize just how hard it is and how difficult. What a long season, how to keep your kids motivated and up for every game. These coaches have done a great job. Both schools should be proud of their programs.
Now the two sides will gather for the awards presentation. Harrison has had their celebration, and now they will meet at the midfield area. And they'll receive the awards. The first award going to the runner-ups. The Midland Chemics receive the runner-up trophy. They'll take that back to Midland. Well-deserved award for the Chemics. And now the state champions crowned in Class A. The Farmington Hills Harrison Hawks. All right, Rob, well, again, hard-fought football game, and not very much unlike the one we saw yesterday at the Silverdome between the Lions and the Bears. Defensive struggle, but good hard hitting and a lot of good solid fundamentals, and the Hawks of Harrison win the Class A crown.
Well, it was an excellent game for a spectator's point, as a coach's point, and for the players. Both teams should be commended and congratulated. And we're looking forward to doing the A game later on, or the B game later on with you, Rick, with Inlay City and Kingsford.
Okay, Rob, that'll do it from the Pontiac Silverdome, where Farmington Hills Harrison is your Class A champion, defeating Midland by a score of 12-9. For Rob Rubik and our crew from Advanced Video Service, I'm Rick Berkey. So long, everybody.